My Burbank Talks presents another edition of The Week That Was and The Week That Will Be, a weekly podcast featuring highlights and commentary on local events and issues taking place right here in Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, Burbank. Craig Sherwood here with you once again, along with, of course, Ross Benson.
Well, I wrote it down today. How do you like that, boys and girls, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? Yabba dabba do. How do you do? This is this week's show. Thank you.
Let's go.
Oh, did I forget that let's go?
Yeah, after the show, maybe. I always love it.
Well, I kind of threw Ed Sullivan. Does anybody remember him?
Okay.
It was a really good shoe.
Really big shoe.
Really big shoe.
Shoe.
Well, let's introduce Craig before
Here's Craig Durling along with us.
Hey, everybody.
Another week of fun.
You should see how he's got this little opening ditty scrawled all the way down the page of his notes here.
You guys give me no room, I would be in trouble. I'd have to flip over my
If you wrote any bigger, you'd need another sheet of paper. But
and it's still
anyway,
rhyme.
It's good to be here.
I tried to think of one last night and write it down, but oh well.
I'll have to get you a teleprompter.
Well, we still have to license the Yabba Dabba Do part from Hanna-Barbera.
Well, let's talk about last week's winner, Pat Brown.
Yes, the Word of the Week winner.
Word of the Week winner. And
was he wanted?
The word was, I think it's a she.
Oh.
Yeah, I have that feeling it's a she.
That would be a name that could be he or she.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Absolutely. But I think it was a she.
Well, congratulations.
What's the proper way to say
Pat,
it?
The word
he or she. Or what's the other new one that you have to put in there?
I don't worry.
I'm not dipping my toe in that pond of boiling water, thank you. But Pat, regardless, thank you for listening that far into the show and emailing the Word of the Week last week, which was wanted.
Wanted.
And you lucked out. You went in the drawing for the $25 gift card to Hill Street Cafe, and you won. Congratulations.
And I understand that, Ross, you talked to Hill Street Cafe, and they're going to be sending a whole slew of more gift cards for us to give out to our listeners, correct?
I got a text message. Apparently one of our winners went in there and talked to Juan, the owner, and showed that he had won. And I guess that was from our newsletter that she was the winner. And Juan said, I'll get you guys more cards because that's a great promotion.
Right on. So our listeners will eat.
Yeah.
They won't starve to death.
That's something else. We also have we pick a reader every week on our newsletter and put their name on there. And if they just submit their name in after they've seen it, they win that gift card.
So there are multiple ways to win a gift card here.
Yes, there are.
See, and I would think most of the people that listen to our podcast know that we put out a weekly newsletter. If you're a very busy business person, can't look at My Burbank every 10 minutes like most people do, at least half the residents of Burbank. We send out a weekly, and it usually comes out on Monday, and it's a flashback of stories and podcasts that we've done during the week. Our great editor, Ashley Erickson, throws that together. She usually sends it out by midday in the evening, maybe on Monday. So if you don't have the chance to look at My Burbank fully every day, on Monday, you can get it in your email. So when you get to work on Tuesday,
and that's myburbank.com, the website where they can also sign up for the newsletter, I'm sure.
And a call of action pops up right in the beginning when you first turn on the website. It's the first thing you're going to see.
Burbank.
We started doing that about a year and a half ago, and we got over 7,000 signups already. And these are all people who've asked to get the newsletter. We're just not.
Yeah, we do not sell that information. We have been asked number-wise, but we do not sell your information. We do not sell your email addresses. It goes into our machine, and actually none of us see it except for...
Well, you certainly don't have access. But we also don't share your address that you send for the Word of the Week.
No,
if you want to be cool like Pat Brown, just listen till usually later, the second half of the show, which means we're talking about next week, for this week's Word of the Week. So I should get paid by every time I say week. But and we'll give you instructions then. But you have to listen all the way through because it's usually later in the show.
Craig, that gets a rim shot. That was a good one.
Oh, well, thank you.
What happened?
You said weak, and he said that.
That was pretty weak.
feel attacked.
Sorry I made that suggestion.
All righty.
Waka waka, the Fozzie Bear.
So something that did happen last week. I sent a request into the. I did a Freedom of Information Act of the city, and I asked for the body-worn footage or vehicle footage from the homeless man incident in North Hollywood, because I figured, it takes 45 days that they have to put it out for a shooting. So it's been 45 days, and we haven't heard a word yet about the investigation, which I'm finding a little bit troubling, because my sense is they did the right thing, and they have a way of explaining it, or if they didn't, they're going to make a good policy to make sure it doesn't happen again. But 45 days now, and not only have they not said a word about it, but they denied our request. So, Ross, you were saying something about, the LA City voted to put it in the court or something, and while they haven't taken it up in the court system, it's a possibility.
Well, when you and I were discussing this, the longer it goes, the stinkier it gets. That's a word I think I want to use.
No,
as our good friend Mike Nolan would say, this smells like and I'll say it, and Mike is waving to me.
There he goes
We're
again.
6 minutes into the show, and we have to put the explicit
boy.
mark next to the title.
Yeah, there.
But
I got to find the. There we are.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't warn you. But it does.
That 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, we need a 10-second delay on our liveness.
Well, it just, the longer this goes, people are curious. But now I kind of thought about it, listened to police commission, and somebody brought it up there. This is going to be a full investigation. I mean, if it's going to go to court, which I think it's going to, the PD's not going to share
What
us
court?
pictures.
What?
Well, that they're trying to say Burbank violated some law, and they'll probably come.
And
up
they being the city of Los Angeles?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They-
It's
they-
them
So
versus
Los Angeles is going to sue Burbank over a...
Well, they're not suing. No, they want the LA City attorney to take it up, and the attorney general.
So I have a funny.
So
feeling.
they're doubling down on this thing.
Yeah, and so far neither entity has said we're going to look into this, but still there's that threat. But it's just
Must be
sad
an election year.
that 45 days after that incident, and nobody was injured, nobody was. 45 days, and we have
But-
no report.
I see where you're going. Is you think if there was no wrongdoing, and you have evidence that could clear everything up, why hold on to it?
Yeah.
Well, Craig, you're a good poker player. I know that. You've learned a long time ago. And when
With that
you're
face?
not going
You used to do that for a living, actually.
I can see what he had for lunch.
and you're not going to disclose your hand. And I have a funny feeling that is what Burbank City Attorney and Burbank Police, they don't want to expose their hand,
Okay.
until it goes to court. Once it gets done, here's the pictures. You can see because it's public information.
But so far, no court case has been filed.
Right. But I have a funny feeling we're 45 days in.
And they have 7 years to do that. So we're
Well-
going to wait 7 years to get that response?
But honestly, you and I know how slow the city works.
Yeah, that's true. Anyhow,
So,
I just want people to know that we put a request in and we were denied, and they are not talking about it in any way.
So My Burbank has done their due diligence
Well, yeah,
thus far,
I just thought it's something we should follow up on.
and continue to.
and we will.
No, we will. Yeah, if we ever hear anything, and I will. If it does go to court, and they have to use that camera footage in court, then that means it becomes public record now, and now I can get it with no
Well, it'd
problem.
be open to discovery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and when the incident happened, they sent us, the city PIO put out a paragraph about it that day. I mean, and then after that, a week later, it was brought up that LA City we thought it would get dropped. We thought they would see,
Yeah,
Paul
well-
Kokorian would take care of it. Well, now
Kokorian just doubled down on it, so
he did.
I
So.
sure hope he doesn't run for an office that Burbank people have to vote for.
No, he did that before.
Well, he gets termed down in L.A. He might be running for.
Had bottle washer and sanitation.
Yeah.
Not plastic bottle washer.
Didn't you? We don't want to talk about the plastic water bottle incident, do we?
No.
Okay.
Oh no, that's
We're not going to talk
our
about
crack
that.
team of journalists is digging into that
We
one.
found something, and we're going to look into it a little bit, and we'll talk about it later.
Well, I will say I did go to a new restaurant this week, and a whole case of plastic straws were sitting on the counter here in Burbank.
It's an art piece, though. You can't use them. You can't use them. It's now art because you can't have flowers.
Before the show, what did you say? You don't like paper straws that are made out of?
Oh, use toilet paper? They're gross. Paper straws are gross anyway. They're good for like 2 sips, and then they turn into mush.
Try with a
It's
shake.
like a big drinking through a spitball.
I will say this. I have now been to a Burger King, a McDonald's, and a KFC, and all three gave me a plastic straw. In fact, KFC gave me a coleslaw container that was plastic and black.
You know why? Because they have warehouses full of them that they have to use.
And they just don't care about Burbank's little laws.
Who does?
By the way, if people are if you're inside a restaurant and they use plastic silverware instead of real silverware, you can call the recycling center and report them.
That and styrofoam and there's a lot of stuff.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And if it happens on the weekend, call them next week.
And you thought Karens had nothing to complain about anymore.
Yeah, you're right. True.
Okay, Airport Commission. They met last Monday. And Ross, give us a little rundown on what you saw on that.
Well, I don't normally watch the airport, but apparently it came up on my TV after a city meeting that I was watching, and I thought I'd pay attention. We have 3 commissioners, Bud Overham, Emily Gabaletti, and Jess Telemontes, that are our 3 airport commissioners. And I guess, we had talked in the past about the art in public places. The building is moving so rapidly, they are going to put art inside, and apparently they're going to be like in shadow boxes and built into the walls. And the construction people go, we're laying out our plans. We're moving so quick. We need to know what your idea is.
You want stuff going into walls, we have to frame that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but question, is this in the ticketed area or is this in the public area?
This is going to be all over the terminal. There's going to be promotional stuff.
Okay.
There's going to be art.
Right, because the argument is that if it's in a ticketed area, it's no longer a public display.
It's not a public display, correct.
But they, listening to them, and I totally get it. I looked at the video today. They got concrete. They're showing how they're pouring concrete and putting walls up already and they're moving along. And the guy said they're ahead of schedule.
So the race is on. Are we going to have a new terminal or 16 new sound stages first?
Well, the sound stages had a head start, didn't they?
They put up a new wall every day.
I mean, if you live on Verdugo, your view has been gone for a long time now with those walls up.
Yeah, you'll never see the wisdom tree again.
But I got to thinking about it. Between the 2 pieces of property, we must have building inspector and fire inspectors out there daily because they're moving that quick. I mean, prefab is prefab, but like you say, you go by the ranch or the new, what's it called? Studio something. There's a name to it.
The Ranch Studios.
Ranch Studios, or Elevate Burbank, and you can go, if you go to drive back there when you go to Randy's Donuts and look, and you go, we're going to have.
I mean, when you're back there looking for Randy's Donuts?
Yeah. I've yet to be at I've not gone there. In fact, it's not only you have to park somewhere, then you have to walk.
Surprisingly hard to find.
Yes, it's not a.
You don't look for the big giant donut on the roof.
Yeah.
No. Well, they, I was blown away. You live in Burbank 60 some odd years. I drove out of Burbank yesterday. I was allowed to, and I came back Lancashire to Camarillo. H-Salt Fish and Chips is now a Randy's Donuts.
I told you that about 6 months ago.
I can't believe they're no big donut, but they're just putting them everywhere.
Yeah, no, I remember we talked about that. I was surprised when they did that. I missed that H-Salt Fish and Chips was good. I enjoyed it.
We had a good friend, Terry Trammell, used to work there. I
Yeah.
remember Terry's first job.
It's just too bad they didn't have it as a drive-through.
Oh, that would have been good.
Yeah, that's why I stopped going.
Yeah, that little street over
I live
there.
in California. I'm lazy.
The world's worst intersection, probably Lancashire, Camarillo. What else comes in there? Tahunga? No, it's just
It's the other 5 points.
right.
Yeah, I think Tahunga is one of those.
Isn't it one of those?
Yeah,
No, Vineland.
Vineland, yeah, Vineland, Lancashire, and Camarillo.
When I leave Burbank, it's pretty
Okay.
seldom.
Another reason not to leave Burbank, Ross. See what happens when you leave?
That intersection is a real cluster.
See, when you can plan the beep,
Yeah, well, when I have my finger on the
it
beat.
works 100% of the time.
Anyhow,
Well, that intersection there, yeah, we've been. When I used to cover Toluca Lake, North Hollywood a lot, I'd be out there for accidents, and
well, that intersection's famous for is if we get over a quarter-inch of rain anywhere, every television station goes out there and shoots cars going through puddles there.
well, what's funny about it, I went out there for a shared hydrant once, and it was like 2 feet deep, and the firemen out there trying to turn it off.
Anyhow, let's get back to Burbank here.
Yeah.
Well, we've meandered outside the city. We've left the bubble.
We did make a check yesterday. There was a dispatch of a vehicle crash at Clybourne and Riverside, and it said into a restaurant. There's only two restaurants on that corner.
Well, there's one now.
And both restaurants are not in Burbank.
And you know what? Only an hour and a half later, the officers determined this is an L.A. accident.
You're kidding.
L.A. City took
Took them that long? Boy, when I was in the business, we knew before we got there.
I was going to say, why don't you just look down Clybourne and see that the street is paved two different ways all the way down the street?
I remember when they paid that. I got called out. Who was the councilman for L.A.?
Launch.
Tom LaBonge and Emily Gabaletti, and they both had colored helmets on, standing on their side of the street, and you could tell what was Burbank.
So which restaurant did they...
Into Patty's.
Oh, okay. Oh,
supposedly.
But there was no visible damage when we went by earlier.
We went and checked it out.
People are sitting out there. That would be...
That's when you want to jump real high if you see a car coming toward you.
Well, we couldn't tell. We went by earlier, and we couldn't tell where a car...
Oh, you could tell. You just didn't want to.
I can't tell you.
Okay.
You could tell me. I'm a doctor.
I just play one on TV. Well, let's go on to our city council meeting. Our city council marathon, I mean.
All right. Technically, it should be Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
It went well into Wednesday, right?
The meeting went 10 hours and 21 minutes. It ended at 2:51 a.m. on Wednesday
Too bad
morning.
for all the city employees that had to work like 4 hours later, 5
9
hours
a.m.
later.
They got all department heads. And
They tell them to come in late after something like that, or do they?
I don't think so.
No, they have a staff
Jeez.
meeting.
No.
10 o'clock on Wednesday morning. It's staff.
Yikes.
I got to tell you, if I understand it, the Burbank Municipal Code says you must have 2 meetings a month. The Burbank Municipal Code does not say you cannot have 3 meetings a month or 4 meetings a month.
Instead of an 11-hour meeting?
Yeah, if we know we have 2 huge issues on the agenda, why not have an extra meeting or meetings just to talk about that one thing? Because is that really fair to all the employees and all the families and everybody else of these people? Yes, they get paid well. I'm not going to, well, most of them get paid well. There's some salary people there. And the members of the public who had to stay till after midnight to talk on comments. I mean,
Well, like we talked about in our production meeting before we got in the studio here, you said, it doesn't help that they spent 3.5 hours talking about what?
Well, let's let's get into this a little bit. Okay, so first of all, the first big thing is unfair evictions or not unfair. It's
Rent.
No fault evictions.
No fault.
And I guess a lot of talk, a lot of and a few hours went into that, and lots of speakers.
Heated.
And then they realized that in other cities they do different things that city staff did not bring up to the council as conditions that they might be able to use. So what happened was they decided, okay, city staff, go back and research some more and put these caveats into the ordinance, and let's see if we can come up with. I mean, I get it. This is complicated. It's going to have legal challenges, and it's going to have a lot of teeth behind it. But boy, but that alone though should have ended the meeting after that was done because it was just that long. But here's the thing that I was very disappointed in. After that, we had the talk on peace in the Middle East, basically on the Gaza and Israel versus Hamas. And after I went to sleep on Wednesday night, I got up Thursday, or actually later that day, Wednesday, and I looked and that war's still going on. I thought they were waiting for Burbank to say, let's have a cease, and then they were going to have a ceasefire. Nothing seemed to have changed. We spent over 3.5 hours talking about that and the wording we're going to use and how we're going to say it. For what? Why did we use those city resources for that long for something that nobody gives a damn about
Well,
outside of Burbank.
Well, it's
I
not
think-
a local issue.
It's not
Exactly.
yeah.
And they made it very clear. It came out of the city manager's mouth. It came out of Courtney Paget's, who was working on this.
Right.
Their skills on foreign policy,
They have nobody.
they haven't
Yeah.
they haven't opened that book lately. They don't have to deal with it too much.
Yeah, they have no experts on foreign policy, and we're sure not going to hire a consultant for $200,000.
They are responsible for governing and managing 17 square miles of the world.
and so all those people.
Stick to that. Get good at that.
And all those people who came in, they started crying during comments. Oh my God! If you don't do something, it's the kids, it's the I get people are but are we going to take up Ukraine and Russia the next meeting? And what about famine in Africa? Maybe that should be down.
We need to keep it to Burbank business.
Well, yeah, and don't get me wrong. When I say it's not a city issue, it's an issue. It's important to many people in the city, many residents, the family, religious interests, all of that. It's a terrible thing going on over there, no matter what side you're supporting. But when it comes to city business and city employees and elected officials taking up city time to discuss it, that's when we start questioning if the times could be better
The
spent.
5 council members, it got heated between them. They had written this statement, and between council members, there was some disputes, and you could tell, to me watching it, the fuzz on my TV, lit up because you could tell they weren't getting along, and you could see how they weren't getting along on the dais, and that kind of bugs me. But what really, like I say, these people are getting up, and I'm sorry, like Craig said, they did it. They typed it exactly how the city wanted it worded. 5 council members passed it. It got printed the next day, shipped, and it was put on the city Burbank PIO put it out. It's been published everywhere. They have done what the citizens want. We can't do any more.
That's it. But I really think we need to, like Craig says, we need to stay with business that we can actually do something about in Burbank.
Yep.
That we can make a decision on, and it becomes something.
I think I finally just figured out. I put 2 and 2 together. I know why the meeting was 10 hours and 21 minutes and it ended at 2:51.
Why is that?
Because in the parking structure where they all park,
Mm-hmm.
you can't park there between 3 and 6. You can't.
Best timing yet, by the way.
Well, I knew there was something coming up.
You had your finger poised over
I
the button.
knew there was something coming up.
And I didn't even bring that one up and show us, but I just thought about it.
Could you
I
imagine?
thought you were going to say in the 251 because the car was on fire. Somebody set a car on fire in the parking garage because 251 is arson.
Yeah, but who's going to give them the ticket? Because LAZ Parking doesn't work at 3 in the
True.
morning.
Oh, shh! Don't tell them that.
Oh, that's
Now everybody knows.
No, now they're going to have longer council meetings.
Oh boy. And I'll say, we have the mayor here on Tuesday night for his Ask the Mayor podcast. And I'm gonna bring up something. 6 or 7 years ago, we had a bunch of old council people on the dais. We had that thing. Well, it's 11 o'clock there. Gertrude, sure you're going home right now.
my pill. Need to take my pill. Geritol. They had to.
So they put
Rev
this
up.
rule. They had to agree to go past 11 o'clock. I mean, it's this thing that you put in 6 or 7. And every meeting now, we have to stop whatever we're talking about. Oh, we need to agree to go on past. You know what? If they can just put it in that easy, then take it out that easy. We don't need that. You guys are not the.
What don't they need? I'm confused.
At 11 o'clock at night during a meeting, they have to vote to continue
The
past
meeting.
11
So to make
o'clock.
the meeting longer
Yes,
by
right.
having to vote on making it longer.
And not once have they ever said, "Oh, the vote is we stop the meeting right now."
Well, did you notice if you watch the meeting, it's kind of funny because if you watch the meeting, they have supply of drinks, cold drinks, and I noticed most of them getting up, and going over and they dig out a can of decaf or whatever. I think My Burbank should supply them a good year's supply of Ensure. I mean, the Diet Cokes aren't healthy for them, but Ensure, at least we know they'll be healthy.
No room
Nothing?
for
No
that.
crickets? No nothing?
No, I do have that for yes.
They used to have peanuts and other food, chocolate there, but then crinkling the packages when
Like
they
in
got
the
back.
movie theater. Just open it. Just open the bag of chips.
Like that commercial they have out. That's pretty.
But they have gotten away from by the water. There's no more water bottles on the dais. It's a pitcher with a nice glass.
Well, that's more formal.
Also meets
More
Burbank's.
formal.
It's not Tyler.
Right, but everybody's talking like water is only available in plastic containers. It's not. It's not. It's available in all kinds of vessels. It's
Well,
not the end of the world, people.
When you go to the store, though, try to find it in other vessels besides plastic
Oh
bottles.
no, I did the other day. Huge display of Dodger bottles, and I picked one up, and it was aluminum.
And how much did it cost?
I couldn't find a price on it. They want you to scan it, but I know there was a big display of
Yeah, you can buy a case of water for $3.99. You can buy that one bottle for $4.99.
right.
So
We have to pay a licensing fee on top of it.
yes, that's true. Anyhow, hopefully we'll have peace in the Middle East someday, and it'll be because of Burbank. So we'll move on, but I think that it's absolutely ridiculous that we had to go 10 hours.
Much like the city council meeting last week, we aren't even to Wednesday
Yes.
yet.
Well, let's get into Wednesday.
Well, but the real quickly, the funny thing is, I've talked to council members years and years. They literally have council member hangovers. They can't operate. They don't have to go to staff on Wednesday morning, but after you deal with,
Well, it's like
some of
jet
this
lag.
stuff-
They're
Yeah,
up all night. Which they're not normally up all night.
exactly.
It's
And
like having a
Yeah.
red eye flight.
but having
Well, a couple of them have jobs, though. They just call in sick the next day.
no, they go and they have this hangover
Yeah,
going.
wow.
You know what I had to deal with last night? These are big issues, and it's taken their brains, to figure it out. But I've talked to them. I remember one of our council members said she used to have to sleep most of the day to get over
I
what
don't
she
blame
lost the
them.
night before.
I don't blame them.
It can be stressful.
But Wednesday the 17th was Mr. Sherwood's favorite commission.
Yeah. In fact,
They met.
It was the commission that I won't say it. I'm just going to pass it right on to Ross and say, what was that commission on Wednesday, and what did they talk about? What did they decide, and what did they advise?
Well, you're talking about the police commission, and one of our commissioners was.
Oh, I got it right. I guessed.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
One of the missionaries, one of the commissioners was not there, so they had a smaller group. I did learn a couple of things at monitoring the meeting, and one of the ones that one of the reports was traffic safety around schools. Well, if people remember, we have talked about LAZ. We had a story about LAZ Parking Control. Well, the trial and what do you want? Trial and error, or the trial of
The trial period.
Yeah, it has expired with flying colors, and they are doubling the force.
Good.
So some of the things that people are complaining
You're
about.
going to work at 3 a.m. now, maybe?
Well,
I'm a fan.
You're gonna laugh.
Only in city parking structures.
You're going to laugh because they used to do alley parkers up on the hill starting at 4 a.m. because the street cleaners come out and work the hill. And when it was Burbank PCOs, parking control officers, I remember hearing them wake up and citing people in alleys. Well, I bet you now LAZ will be able to do that. But one of the things they brought up, these people that double park at the schools, more the middle school and the high school, instead of sending a motor officer out there who could be writing citations in other parts of the city, they're going to send LAZ out there because it's really a parking issue, and maybe not cite, but at least get the cars moving along. So it'll be a nice reason for them, another purpose for LAZ to be put into service.
Let me ask our resident expert here. I don't. If a car is double parked and the engine's basically running, does LAZ have the capabilities of having them pull over to the curb to issue them a ticket? I mean, is that you think in their scope is not sworn officers?
No, if in perfect world, if there was a parking violation, they'd create the ticket and they just hand them the ticket and they go on their way. They're not going to direct. They might tell them to move on or leave, but parking enforcement will typically direct a car to go pull over here and do this safely.
But like it was,
they certainly have the authority to, but as a
do.
safety thing, they usually don't have that much interaction.
well, like the
with,
traffic
moving
lieutenant
traffic.
even said, he thinks having them around the schools, their lights going, he says just the
Oh yeah,
obvious.
visibility. You get somebody walking around with a ticket book,
Yeah,
and people will usually get moving.
Yeah.
It only takes one. Usually, it takes one person to get a ticket.
and then the
then
other
that'll-
things that they brought up is Burbank schools have changed principals at almost all the schools, and these motor officers get to know the principal so they can work problems out. Well, with new principals, you have, well, we got to go through training and all. So we'll see if that helps around the schools. They also, let's see, looking at my notes kind of quickly.
Just to add something about it, them dealing with an occupied vehicle. Usually, if they're behind the car,
Yeah. I'm not so much occupied. I'm talking about that's in traffic that
Yeah.
they need to move to give the ticket to.
oh well, they wouldn't move it. They'd issue it the citation, and they could tow it at that point if it's obstructing traffic or something.
Okay.
But you also got
But
to
if you
remember,
do have an occupied vehicle and they're issuing a parking ticket, and the person in that car just decides to drive away, so they don't get the ticket,
Well, now they get on the
they can mail
radio.
them the ticket.
Oh, that's true. Or they get on the radio with it. We would never hear, and they would.
Not even. You know what? Driver fled.
Yes.
Driver left, and you mail it to the RO of the car.
well, but also I don't think their purpose is you taught me many years ago, the purpose of a patrol officer or motor officer is traffic enforcement. That doesn't mean always writing a ticket. That
Absolutely
means,
not. No.
If and that's I think their purpose around the schools. Let's change the habit of people doing it. Let's put LAZ out there. Let's see if that helps. If not, then we can bring motors.
And it
back.
starts with the visibility and in interaction, right? You can, but I mean, I always said that in my detail, what I did day in and day out was 80% education and 20% enforcement.
Yeah,
you
you shared with me once when you got into traffic enforcement that everybody thinks cops are mean people and they do it. Oh, they're got to fill their quota. No, most people take their driver's test when they're 16. They're 40 and 50 now, and they violate some new law.
Or they're just complacent.
Yeah.
Because they're so comfortable driving. But you know what? I don't want to go to traffic collisions. I don't want people to get into traffic collisions. So I'm going to do whatever I can to try to prevent people from getting into traffic collisions. And that's through education and enforcement.
Yeah. When you said that to me, I always looked at it differently and so forth. Burbank has some new police officers. The day of their meeting, the night before, we had a graduation from Rio Hondo. We had 6 new officers, 5 from Rio Hondo, and 1 female lateral transfer, I'm told, from Long Beach PD. And she seems to be working out real well, an experienced officer. So that's nice. And then we had Christian Mendez on the 26th, I think I have in our notes. He graduated from LASO, class 4. I want to say 4 or something. It was nice to see. He was what do you call it, Craig? The guy that holds the flag, carries the flag? Guidon?
Guidon. Yeah.
He was nominated between the class to do that. The
Position
police
of honor.
And it was. That is, for a Burbank officer out of a ton of LA, and there were other agencies there. San Fernando, Glendale had a slew of new officers.
Sounds like LeBron.
Yes.
LeBron's going to carry the American flag.
Well, at the graduation, it's a different flag. But the chief also reported that their new record system, $4.5 million of how they do things. First, it was inside the record bureau. Now it's how the officers take reports and do everything else. That is all online, and apparently all the bugs have been worked out. And then what else was there? Apparently there's a show out right now on Fox. A lot of people have seen it, where Burbank police officers went in and rescued some kids in a burning apartment. And this TV show is body-worn cameras, and it was the first show that these two officers who got Medal of Valors for that
How long ago was the incident?
a couple of years ago.
Oh, okay.
This is a new show.
I was going
And-
to say, if it's on a TV show, how long ago did it
Right.
actually happen?
Well, that's what kind of got me, is because I watched the show and I know these two officers, and I'm going, that happened years ago, literally a couple years ago. But it's a new TV show to show.
If you see on this show footage of Burbank officers dropping a homeless guy off in North Hollywood, let me know.
Yeah, different production company. National Night Out's coming up, and that's August
It is,
6th.
Tuesday.
Next
Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess the Burbank Police Foundation, and it kind of gets me. They didn't send this to us, but I think the chief reporter or I saw two things. People made donations to the police foundation, and they bought the Burbank Police Canine units 2 ballistic vests for their dog, custom fitted. And they had showed those off, and I think that's kind of cool. And I wanted to remind people, if you want to donate, let's say to the Canine program, you can do that through the Burbank Police Foundation and earmark it. You know, when we had a equestrian unit, I know Carrie, the sergeant that was in charge of that, got a lot of donations from people. So if you want to donate stuff to Burbank Canine, they now have ballistic vests, which are very important these days, as it's getting rougher and rougher when they send a dog in.
Well, what's great about these foundations, my former department had a foundation for the police department. It's an independent foundation, and they accept donations and things like that. But what they're able to do is provide like necessary equipment that maybe the department can't otherwise get approved in a budget or can't afford in the budget, like these vests for the canines. They may not have been approved by budget committee or something, or they didn't have money set aside for it for this year, but they thought it important. The foundation can go ahead and review that. And if they have the funds available, then they can actually provide the funds for that equipment versus it coming out of the department budget. It can be done through donations.
And I know you hear LA Police Protective League has a foundation, the fire department, a lot of these rescue tools. You can probably see those ballistic vests at National Night Out, Johnny Carson Park, 5 to 8. They're going to have a big demo going on there. And the last thing I wanted to, that the chief brought up was the Police Foundation is offering August 10th, Take a Scoop Out of Crime.
Ooh.
Doesn't that sound
Sounds
yummy
like
already?
ice cream to me.
You got it. It's Foster Freeze up on Glen Oaks and Angelino. From 5 on, they're going to be, the Police Foundation covers the cost for everybody. Adults, kids, and it's probably going to be real hot, so if you get a double scoop, you're going to want to eat it real quick, get another one. But that's August 10th, and you want to go talk to some of the police officers and the command staff. I know they'll be there.
And have an ice cream.
That was the other, other stuff during the commission meeting. There's a conference that they go to in Arizona. They elected two commissioners to go to that. There was a couple other reports, but
Don't forget they're going to play a little golf there.
well, yeah, it's apparently on aren't conferences all, Craig, like that?
I don't know, but that's
They're usually at facilities that have like resort facilities, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's on their own, whatever they want to do.
So that was the other item they brought up, and then they brought up, which we'll talk about, which the public is this driving campaign that's taken a lot of work to get it to where it is. So they got tons of car dealers to get into the hands of young drivers pamphlets about safety of driving these new cars, these with all the distractions. And I know there's going to be a big press conference, I believe next week or in August.
Does that mean the parents aren't doing it anymore?
No.
It's now the dealer's responsibility to teach the kids?
Well, what they're going to do, apparently, like West Coast Customs, they went over there and, I'm trying to think the owner's name, whatever it is, he said, kids don't want to hear from cops talking about safety. You know, I remember when I was growing up, they'd show you a bloody movie.
Blood flows red on the highway.
Yeah, exactly. So the
It would
owner
beep
of
and you'd click the slide.
the West Coast Customs guy said, we'd like to put on some of these classes and help you out. And we'll supply the instructors and we'll be a part of this. I know they have dealers involved. They have West Coast Customs involved. They have several organizations. So
it's a collaborative effort.
Very
which
much.
is good.
Yep. And again, it was done by the police commission, kind of commissioned the whole thing, and they're behind it. So we'll have more information right down the road on that.
A lot of good info at that meeting.
I think it was.
Yeah.
And thank God we talked about it because you wouldn't have heard it anywhere else.
Well, unless they go back and listen to the rewind.
Yeah, that's true.
Moving on.
Thursday, Providence St. Joseph's was named one of the best regional hospitals by U.S. News and World Reports. And
A little run-on
we
sentence
have a
there.
run-on sentence that somebody put on there, which I'm not sure why.
Unrelated to that, Burbank has a new police officer, or a new recruit,
Yeah,
apparently.
I guess we're going to talk about that again.
Or is this a new one?
No, it's the same one we just talked
Well,
about.
let's not confuse.
Well, I just got to go back to Providence. Providence St. Joseph's
Yeah.
was honored by U.S. News and World Reports, and we always say it's the Cadillac of hospitals in the area.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I know what happened. That was on a separate line. And I think to eliminate 32 pages, we condensed and that got pushed up there. So we're still talking Officer Mendez. And on the video, we'll show his picture if you watch us on YouTube.
But kudos to Providence St. Joseph. We're all fans of that hospital.
absolutely.
A premier medical facility in the area.
They've put me back together a couple of times now.
Well, I think that is it for the week that was. Coming up, it'll be the week that will be. So
Boom, boom.
we'll be right back after this word from ourselves.
Enjoying the show right now? Think you may want to do your own podcast? Well, My Burbank Talks is renting out our podcast studio on an hourly rate. You and your guests can record audio podcasts or both audio and video. We'll help you get set up on podcast platforms and even your own YouTube channel. We can also edit your productions to make you look and sound your very best. If interested, please drop us an email at studiorentals@myburbank.com. That's studiorentals@myburbank.com. Now, back to our show.
All right, everybody.
Are we still in the media? I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just curious. Are we still in the media district?
Adjacent.
Never have been.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Planning Commission.
Welcome to today.
Planning Commission met today, and there was an appeal of the cell phone tower situation on 800 South Main, and the commission only had 3 members present. There's Chris Rosati recused himself, didn't accuse him. He recused himself, and
I'm just
Don't put the
curious.
cart before the horse
and
here.
we're missing a 5th person, so they only had 3 members present.
Did he say why he recused himself?
I didn't watch that part.
Oh, okay, I'll play it back.
Okay, I'm sure.
I'm just curious because that's all commercial property in there, and I don't think he owns anything unless he's doing it because
Well, he might have a real estate listing in that area. I mean,
that he's also running for council. So
anyhow, they voted 3-0 to deny the appeal. I kind of thought this was a ridiculous appeal to start with, and then I listened to the person who made the appeal and the reasoning they gave, and the city, says, well, this conforms with the 1994 telecommunications law, and I'm going, 1994? Isn't that when you pushed a button on your computer and went just to get online or something?
that's when you had to get up and change the TV. There were no
No,
remote controls.
I mean, so there were parts of that not real relevant today. But on the other hand, I look at it like, well, I get it. There's, people, but you put a cell phone up to your ear. So it's not like you don't get, those waves are around. You turn on a radio and it plays. You know why? Because the waves are all around us. When the police department shows up and they talk on the radio, they can talk because the sound waves are everywhere. You look on the mountain and Mount Lee, there's a lot of big antennas out there putting a lot of wattage out with a lot of different things. So I understand. There's a preschool in the area. People were worried, oh, my child is going to catch cancer. You know what? These are all fears. I think these people have legitimate fears. I get that.
Well, we talked about this a little, and I'm just gonna chime in here. I've been around this town for a while, and every time back in the day, every time they were going to put up a cell site, the neighborhood would send out petitions, and everybody would say, "What, NIMBY? Not in my backyard." Well,
this started 12 years ago with the little white chapel over on
exactly
Jeffries and Maple, which we did a full story on.
Oh yeah, and that was just they were going to hide it in the steeple, and what was it? Whatever the cell phone company they had gone, and the church was going to make money to keep it going, but I remember the day when people along Whitnall complain that they're losing their hair because the power lines that are overhead. Or, the people that live across from schools don't like the bells ringing and the kids yelling, but you bought a house there.
Well, the people who bought a house by the airport 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a beef with that. I don't know why who the heck put an airport right in the middle of that neighborhood?
Yeah. Amazing.
So this one kind of, I get it.
You can have an airport, actually. You just can't have planes taking off and landing.
But
right
now, did you listen to the meeting? Did you get to listen?
Yeah, I listened to. I did listen to it.
How many horse owners got up and spoke?
The only question person was really Emily Gabaletti, and she didn't represent herself as a question person, but there were not a lot of speakers actually. It was just more, once again, NIMBY stuff. And I will say this: I was looking into this because I got emails from this nursery school or preschool or what do they call it nowadays. So I asked the city, I said, can you give me a list of all the cell phone towers in Burbank, where they're located? And the answer I got back is, we don't keep those records. I'm going, you don't keep those records? I gave them back in 2012. I did a story on this 12 years ago. So I sent them a link to the story, and I said, well, here's the list you gave me 12 years ago. And there's like 75 or 80 on here. So what happened to that list, and why aren't you keeping track anymore? And they're saying, well, we'll look into it a little more and see if we can get. I'm still waiting.
Well, and that's what kind of gets me, because you drive around now, and on top of all these big buildings, you're seeing all these cell towers. They now decorate them like palm trees in the middle of Arkansas.
They're also on light poles now.
Exactly. So it kind of, boy, again.
I want my cell phone to work, but just I don't want to have it work near me or have a. Well, I understand.
But we have so many radio waves and stuff shooting through our bodies from every direction anyway. How do they think this stuff travels from one place to another? It's going around us?
Look at them.
They're not going around us.
Look at the top of Mount Lee. How many antennas are up there?
But living down here in the media district adjacent, I remember when my sister lived over here, we could be 4 blocks apart and have Verizon, and we couldn't talk to one another. And they said, well, the studio doesn't want this and that. And
you know what? If you live in this area, you still can't talk in Verizon.
Yeah, it just gets me. That's because they want to put a tower in and people won't let it.
I offer and say, hey, you can put one in my house. I'll take the rent.
Yeah, exactly.
They wouldn't do it, but.
Yeah, that just kind of.
So, I understand their points, but on the other hand, if you don't want that kind of stuff, then move out to Montana.
Well, the facility, 801 South Main, I know rather well. I worked in that building for many years, and it's changed. It was Bixel. It was quite a few production companies. Back when I worked there, it was an aircraft parts supply company, and it burned down to the ground. And right along there, there's
they never did find the guy who did that.
You're right. It was arson, and they
451.
451. It was, they know how it was done, and it was apparently the guy had a roof done the day before, And the roofing company, well, we won't go there. Many
You better
years
be
ago.
careful.
I'm guessing the fire
Allegedly.
triangle was
Wait a second,
completed,
wait a
and
second,
that's how it's.
Allegedly. Okay, please.
We need to put that into the show open. Everything we say is alleged or pure nonsense.
Yes, we've only heard about it. We don't know it for a fact.
Heard a guy
Yes.
who told my uncle
Okay, for just so people know where 800 block of Main is.
between 7 and 9.
No, I was going to say, where did Martino's tea cakes come from? Where were they?
On the corner of Alameda and Main.
Well, how many locations has Martino's had?
Well, that was the main one.
That was the main one.
That's when they were huge. And we're talking,
Right.
I mean, huge. They supplied,
Huge.
They supplied everybody with a tea cake back then.
Huge.
Yes.
Now it's just people in Burbank need a tea cake.
Well, they moved. They split up. The company split. Some of them went to work on Flower Street. You could get the tea cakes, and then they reopened
On Verdugo.
on Verdugo. Then now they're on Victory next to Magnolia.
Just south of Magnolia.
And you know what?
But not to confuse Martino's tea cakes with Yum Yum cupcakes.
That's right. See, totally different, and they taste different.
So what's happening with Yum Yum cupcakes on Tuesday?
Say that quickly.
What?
Times.
It's we needed a segue or
Yes,
something.
we did.
Yum Yum cupcakes. People probably have heard of Yum Yum cupcakes.
Well, because they've been around.
They have been.
little
They
bit.
were one of the first custom cupcake company. She was located a couple blocks east of where she has moved to. She had two businesses. She used to put on classes, and she said rent went up in the building she was renting. I'm not putting on classes anymore. I want to downsize. This is where her new location is, next to Bagel Boss and Voodoo Pizza. She's right in the brand
I have no idea where either one of those
3100
places are.
block of West Magnolia.
3100 block. Yep. And tomorrow, 10 o'clock, she is reopening her shop.
That'd be Wednesday or Tuesday.
Tuesday the 23rd.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yep, Tuesday the 23rd on the day.
So a reopening in the new location.
Yeah. And parking's a little tough. I've been by there a couple of times. I will say, I'm a frequent user of Bagel Boss. I met a Magnolia Park merchant in there the other day, and Yum Yum cupcakes will do very well. She now has places all over California. It's not just a Burbank location.
Well, on Tuesday night, we're also going to do a new Ask the Mayor podcast. So if you have any questions, and you have until 7 o'clock actually on Tuesday night to send your questions in to questions@myburbank.com. And
I think I saw in our notes
And this
we
is
do have some
tomorrow
already.
night.
we have what?
We've gotten one or two questions already that
Yes,
we
yes.
That's good. But we're talking about tomorrow night, Tuesday
All right,
the
yes.
23rd. We're recording this on Monday the 22nd.
Right.
So not a lot of time.
Not a lot of time. Wednesday, the Senior Citizens Board, it's dark. There will be a transportation meeting at 5 o'clock at the Community Services Building. We're going to talk about the immediate district-specific plan. They're also going to talk about a parking management plan for downtown Burbank, and they have two different plans that they're looking at. One being a little larger than the other, and the larger one basically is putting in meters on San Fernando Road between Angelino and Magnolia, and on Olive and Palm and Orange Grove and Magnolia between 3rd Street and 1st Street.
I have one word to say.
What's that?
Boo.
Well, they're going to keep the parking structures free, and they're trying to get people to come in and out of those, because people will park there all day long. And
Well, it's prime parking.
yeah, so and the employees park there. So now,
True.
so
they've done many studies.
and
This-
we're all for. Now, we heard over the years they're going to first try metered parking at the Metrolink station.
Right.
Well, I guess that.
No, I think that's still moving forward.
Well, this made it sound like this is going to be the first one they're going to do.
Oh, maybe,
And
but
because I also heard that they're going to do it in Magnolia Park, which is another place that desperately needs short-term parking in front of businesses.
well, Magnolia Park, I can speak for it because I sit on the Magnolia Park board. There is a survey currently being done. The city has contracted a company. We went through a couple of companies that were going to do the survey to talk about P-bid and parking, because people don't understand in Magnolia Park, it's the best way to turn over business.
Well, and these meters are going to be on during business hours, I assume.
Well, that's the other thing.
'Cause otherwise,
They're
you're kind of
smart meters.
defeat the purpose.
They're smart meters. They can program them
Right.
remotely. They
Right.
can do different functions and certain things.
So
yeah.
basically, if it's in the afternoon, it's not very busy, the rate will go down. If there's like,
So the rates will change.
if it senses less people
Interesting.
parked, but if it senses like all the spots are taken, then it goes to a premium setting, and so it's a lot more expensive to park then.
But people don't understand. Yes, I get it, folks. People come to shop here because we don't charge for parking. But now, with everything, everybody's in a car.
Well, come shop and then leave. You're welcome to come shop, but you have to leave. That's
then leave, go to a restaurant and eat there, and then
part of the deal.
In the past, you had to jingle through your pocket. You had to look in that little.
I used to have a 35 millimeter film
I still
container
do.
in the door pocket full of quarters.
I happen to have a medical with my metformin because it
You
holds.
use prescription quarters.
Yeah, I'm using bigger, but you used to have to look for change to feed the meters. Now, everybody has a credit card or debit card
or smartphone.
or a smartphone, and pay for it that way. Burbank needs to recoup because people have complained that the parking structures need work.
Even the elevator.
Well, the elevators need work.
Yes.
Well, you know what? I will say, to your benefit, coming here tonight, there is a brand new sign as you're going westbound on the Olive Overpass. The elevator is out of service for repair and maintenance. There is now a construction fence in front of the elevator doors with a very big sign saying under construction, blah, blah, blah.
I drove by there about 2 weeks ago and nothing.
I'm telling you,
Just
I
the-
drove by
the
2 hours
sign-
ago.
Only the signs were there, but they promised it by next by April.
So they fixing them, or they just decide to turn them off?
Replacing them.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
But again, people
1.5 million.
that's what gets me. People don't understand the money when the city does something like put in an elevator, not realizing that maintenance, they wear out, and that one gets used a lot, so you got to get some money coming in somewhere. So they're going to do it via parking meters. So
Now the other thing they're going to talk about, which I found a little interesting, was having the Burbank buses transport students in Burbank for free. Right now, it's $1 to ride the bus, but you know what?
It's one way to fill the buses or get people in the buses.
$1 for a kid is still $1, So,
God, maybe we can.
I found it interesting though that first they said that the Burbank Unified School District board did not want to go with the city and go past to give those students transportation. So the city is now looking at doing it themselves and but the problem with what they said here was that they said the 3 junior high schools, the 2 high and the 3 high schools, and Providence High School kids could ride the bus, but they didn't talk about the other private schools, which I was a little surprised about. But you know what? If we can have something where we just get on, I would think that
What was it called before?
Go Wheels.
Got Wheels, yeah, because that worked out. Didn't they use the same size bus?
Yeah, that's okay. And they were either full or empty.
But now with these huge 45-seat or 90,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be a great idea that our kids can ride? We would see
Well,
people in them.
but here's the problem. You get a school at one of these schools. Where's the nearest bus? Where's the nearest bus stop?
Well,
the Go Wheels. You got Wheels. Used to go right by all the schools.
right.
So it was convenient for the kids. If you get at it at Muir, there's no
I
bus.
know where
around
they're
there.
going to put them. They'll put a bus stop where the newspaper racks are or were.
So on Thursday, we have the Infrastructure Oversight Board meeting canceled. The Advisory Council on Disabilities will meet via Zoom from 1:30 to 3 o'clock. Looks like polo is making its return to the Equestrian Center.
The what?
To the
Where?
Did we
The
say?
Equestrian Center.
Holy cow! You mean the equestrian?
Well, that horn can mean only one thing,
And
Mr. Sherwood.
What does that mean?
I believe that equestrian is the word of the week this week.
That's it. The word of the week.
You know what's pretty funny? That sound, it's the same sound. That's how they started chucker. And
It's
if
a-
you go to polo, a chucker is a quarter. And they take an air
And where do
horn
they do polo?
at the equestrian.
All right.
I think it's located at 480 Riverside Drive.
Now you've waited this long to hear for the word of the week.
And what happens to when
Now-
people hear the word of the week?
Assuming you're still awake, the horn is designed to wake you up.
Yeah, this is no longer the council meeting.
Right. It's getting there. But go ahead and send an email, craft an email to contest@myburbank.com in the subject line or what have you. Put the word equestrian, the word of the week, in the content or the text of the message, your mailing address. We won't share that with anybody. It's just so in case you win, we can mail you your $25 gift card to the wonderful, our favorite, the Hill Street Cafe on Glen Oaks. You'll go into the mix, and the system will randomly pick a winner out of all the submissions. So you never know. You might be the only one to send in a submission.
Or you could be one of 25.
Your odds go up real high.
That's
But
true.
you could be one of the 50. But either way, every week we have a winner, so you have a chance.
Well, I'll be honest with you. Last week, I don't know why, but we only had 4 submissions last week.
Well, then you get
Pat
a
Brown had a
25% chance of winning. But it's worth it for a $25 gift card, Hill Street Cafe.
Okay, so
and
I think-
all they got to do is put equestrian?
What?
I know, Ross, you're going to be going there and shooting the map. Yeah, it's not really technically in Burbank, but it's a Burbank mailing address.
Well, the
We
Horsey neighborhood over there certainly,
Yeah, the
we
horses.
certainly hear a lot from them. So
Yeah, well,
Most of those horses are.
they should call it the Burbank Equestrian Center, not
they really
the Los
should.
Angeles Equestrian Center.
Anything on this side of the wash.
Yes.
Well, it's so weird how the city lines are, where the Burbank line ends in their driveway, the gate, the entryway is 480 Riverside Drive. You go in 50 feet, and Burbank
Right.
can't do anything in there. It's all of LA City.
But anybody can go watch polo this Thursday and Friday
Yep,
for free admission.
I saw that.
Very exciting.
And if you haven't ever seen polo, I will tell you, my dad used to play it professionally many, many years ago. He owned his own group of polo horses.
Oh, and you photographed it for years
For years. I was the official photographer at the Los Angeles Equestrian Center through several owners. I shot tons of celebrities playing polo. It's a fast-moving sport.
Now, is this a sign that it's coming back full force, or
They're trying.
Okay.
This is a group out of, I'm told, Santa Barbara, that there was a lady that came down here and got hooked, played polo, and she said, "This is so much fun. We got to do this again." And they did it for many, many years. Like I said, Elizabeth Taylor had one of her colognes introduced to
the
polo
Equestrian
game.
Center was very well known for the polo.
It was.
Huge
It was.
facility over there.
Yeah, and like I said, you don't have to wear your cowboy boots. You can wear tennis shoes, but
You don't have to dress up like it's the Kentucky Derby or anything like
Yeah,
that. Big
no.
floppy hats.
yeah,
and-
nope. They used to. I will say, you could run into Michael Jackson and Sylvester Stallone, and Johnny Grant owned a slew of horses, and
If you run into those three people this Thursday or Friday, I want to
Wow.
hear about it.
but there were quite a few celebrities that are into polo, and if they're not playing here, it's way too hot now in the desert to go watch polo down in
On Coachella
Indio.
Valley, yeah.
Yeah, at Indio. Gentleman that built the Burbank Mall, Alexander Hagan, owns all the polo fields down in Indio where they do the concerts.
Right, they do Coachella
Coachella
and
there.
Stagecoach down
But
there.
he had a slew of polo horses. It's fun. You probably see me there. Like I said, if you don't have anything to do, come on over. I guess they're serving. There will be food available, food trucks. And you know what? You get a little experience at the Equestrian Center watching professional polo.
And that's this Thursday and Friday, the 25th and 26th.
That's if you're not going to the next event.
Well, this one is until 8 p.m.
Oh, okay. Then you can, after polo. Polo's, I forget, 4 chuckers, And you'll catch on to the game real quick. I mean, there's rules and guidelines. It's kind of like soccer.
And nothing like water polo.
No, water polo is kind of fun to watch underground. But I'll tell you, I have photographed polo or arena polo. You know, you're going after a ball the size of a grapefruit. You have two horses challenging with sticks to try to knock it, hit the ball.
Well, the people are holding the sticks, right?
Right.
The horses aren't holding the sticks.
No, but the horses are pushing the people.
It's a very physical sport.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And you'll hear a lot of that, and you probably smell some while you're over there.
But after the you catch the polo, you can go over to the Roguelike Tavern on Pass for Drag Queen Bingo.
And who knows which council member you may see there. Hopefully not. I don't know. I think
Is that a drag queen joke?
he got in trouble once, so hopefully
I don't think you'll see any council.
I don't think you'll see him there. But the drag queen bingo.
But Drag Queen Bingo starts at 8 o'clock. I think it goes from 8 to 10:30 p.m. But it's not just the bingo. They have food and drinks and games and all kinds of...
Yeah.
There's a drag show, I guess, that goes on before it. And
Roguelike Tavern, it's over on Pass. It's in the Vaughn's parking lot.
Used to be known as Sardo's.
That's right.
Next to the B of A, and that parking lot is huge. And
Next to Maz.
well, I've gone over there. I used to shop at that Vaughn's all the time, and you go 10 o'clock, and what are all these cars for? And people would say they're all over watching. Back then, it was Porn Star.
You may know the location is Sardo's from back when, but it's the Roguelike Tavern now.
Karaoke.
So that's Thursday night. If you want to take in a good time, some Drag Queen Bingo.
And I hear that you still can get peanuts, crack them, put them on the floor at that place. I don't know.
They have a good-looking little pub menu there. I checked that out today.
Friday,
Lots going
we
on.
have a Food Truck Friday in Magnolia Park. And so we will, I know church trucks will be there, but there'll be a lot of trucks there.
I think he has the gentleman putting on is also doing that the next event, and I think he told me he has 20 trucks, 20 different food trucks lined up for this Friday night.
That's a lot.
That really is. You will have any type of food you can find, but also bring your credit card.
Well, Run Out Groove Records also has their grand reopening from 6 to 9 p.m., and they're located at 3208 Magnolia.
And that is my good buddy Jeff Ferguson, who was on Cordova back there in one of those little shops, and he ran out of room. Found over there at 3208, he has a larger room. He has a sound. You can go in and listen to records and spin in things, and he has tons of giveaways. I hear he's got some celebrity that's going to be turning tunes during the night on Friday night.
No hints?
I forget who he said it was.
Oh, well, you have to go to find out, I guess.
I guess not that big of a celebrity, huh?
We're not going to give it away here.
Well, he had somebody not too long ago, a record, a music group.
Green Day?
Green Day, yeah, stop at his shop. And he's a promoter, so he gets these people in there. And I
if
didn't
it's
know
Green Day there, then it could be anybody showing up.
Yeah,
exactly.
Green Day is huge.
Yeah. And but a small band. They don't take up a lot of space. There's only 3 people.
Yes, that's true.
So, but he's in a new place. Go check it out. There's for some parking available behind the B of A. If you bring a car that needs to be charged, there's charging spots back there. Park in the B of A parking lot because they close at 5. Food truck Friday night. Great night to take your family out if you have a kid in a stroller, and that's what I have found. The young families kind of go out a little early so they can push the strollers, and I guarantee up the block we'll have some other business going on.
Well, and also Friday night, you've got the cultural market over by AMC on what used to be Orange Grove? Palm. But they call it the Paseo now or something? Okay. Right. But that's going on actually all weekend in the evenings throughout the summer, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if you're looking for something else to do.
And I saw we had some local, I don't want to say politicians, but stopped by there. There was tons going on. not only the people
we meant to go. You and I meant to go. We had it penciled in to go this last weekend, but
there's an
life
elephant.
took over, and we didn't. And there's an elephant over there.
There's Batman over there.
One of the part of the elephant parade is over there.
So there's a lot.
There's three over there.
There's what?
Three of them over there.
Three of them? Bam! Knock out three of them in one shot.
And I just got a text from a lady who does some custom jewelry. She promoted that she was going to be there, I think maybe Friday or Saturday. So busy stuff going on.
Well, if you're looking for stuff to do in Burbank, you can't say nothing's going on the weekends because we have these recurring things throughout the summer. Saturday morning is the weekly farmers market at Olive and Glen Oaks. Get your fresh vegetables and fruits.
And I'm told the biggest thing that they sell there,
eggplant,
eggs, fresh eggs.
Oh, you mean like volume, multiples?
The fire department goes over there at 7:30.
They probably don't charge $75 a dozen either.
Well, that's very, very true. But the fruit and everything is
fresh
or organic, and some of it's organic. They got quite a bit. Flowers. It's funny because you remember Fire Service Day. All the people go there and buy.
That's right.
Fresh flowers.
And they came walking over to Fire Service Day with bags of apples and stuff. But that is from 8 a.m. to noon on the Saturdays.
Yep, very popular place.
Then after the farmers market, once again we're having our kitten fair.
I want that one. I was told not to get a yellow one, though.
Oh, yes.
Don't get the yellow ones are crazy. Don't get a yellow cat.
Yeah, it's funny. My cat picture here is actually a yellow cat.
Is it? I have friends who have yellow cats, and they're like, if you're going to get a cat, don't get a yellow cat.
Is that like redheaded women? Oh,
or like a black lab? Aren't black labs known to be
brown?
Oh, brown labs, even kookier?
Oh, they're crazy.
I've been told that pure white cats have a tendency to be blind also, which I never
really.
Knew. Yeah,
they have like blue eyes, like
I don't know,
white dogs.
I'm going to give a call. I got some people over at the animal shelter. I want to.
Well, it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday,
and you can pick them out.
It's a kitten fair. So.
Great time to pick up a kitten.
Yeah.
Saturday again, busy day.
The Burbank Historical Society is hosting.
What? Where? What's your favorite line of that?
Burbank Historical Society.
Okay.
They're hysterical.
Oh, the Burbank Historical Society. Okay, they are hysterical.
You forgot your own joke.
Well, they're hosting a talk with Lansing White, the grandson of Earl White, who developed most of the Magnolia Park area. So that could be a very interesting conversation. Hear how how it began.
I bet you could ask that guy, how the hell did they develop a pumpkin store?
And did they know they were going to have 20 food trucks in their neighborhood? Are you and the Magnolia Park Board going to be present at this?
Oh, yeah. I might stop by. This one sounds very interesting because a lot of people. Well, Craig and I know where the pumpkin store was once Bars TV. Now it's that cookie place. It's been a ton of pizza places. There's a sound studio in there.
We don't have a time on here though, so I'm a little bit.
Most of the stuff at the Historical Society starts at 2:00.
Oh, okay.
Usually that's.
I would check their website to make sure about that.
No, you can do your own due diligence if you're interested.
I hate to show you how you show up at 2:00 and it started at 1:00.
Well,
everybody, if anybody out there that's interested in going, they can look it up.
And if it does start at 1:00 and you're at 2:00, it has then become history. And you go to the Historical Society, and then
if it's over by the time you get there, you can become hysterical.
Yes.
Or if you want to be safe, just show up at like 7 a.m.
But we will say that we are members. Some of us are members. I think all of us are members, and they had their appreciation lunch that I missed last week. I was busy, but I hear they had a great old time, and people don't understand. You go back before the Lockheed days. How Burbank became Burbank. It's kind of interesting.
Well, now we have the LA Fix-It Clinic, and that's going to be at the Jocelyn Center. And basically, they say, do you have any household items that need repair? Don't trash it.
Fix it.
Come fix it for free at one of our coming at the Fix-It Clinic at the Jocelyn Center. They'll provide the space, the tools, and the expert coaches.
It sounds like you can go there and learn how to fix
How to
your own
fix-
thing
yeah.
rather than just throw it out, right?
They'll help you troubleshoot and repair your object. And that's
Your object.
Yeah.
Your thing.
Your thing. That's from 12 to 3 at the Jocelyn Adult Center over on Olive.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, something
Well,
different.
they're trying to keep stuff from
Yeah, well,
recycling it and throwing it
It's
away.
a horrible trend that everybody's kind of bought into, that everything's disposable now. Well, it doesn't have
Well,
to be.
and the older people are on a budget. They really can't afford to always buy
Sure.
new things, so they might as well fix them.
I remember
I like it.
when I was in high school, Mr. Lewis was the electronics teacher. Every teacher would bring
See,
stuff.
the one is always had the hair sticking straight up,
Oh, yeah, he probably
working with electricity.
Yeah, he
Just like the shop teacher is always missing a finger.
that was Mr. Foos, Chester Foos without the finger. But Mr. Lewis would every day. We would go into class and he said, "This teacher brought us this lamp that needs to be rewired," or "This teacher brought us this that needs."
Right. So you're fixing all the teacher's stuff.
I learned. The reason I got an A in his class, when you redid the electrical cord, you have to do it 8 times and then put the cord through it and tighten it up. He said everybody loved it. It looked like it was a brand new cord.
Because it was.
I got an A out of that class. He wrote in my yearbook, and I'll never forget.
And we also now know why your mustache is curled.
Exactly.
Reverse polarity.
You go around my house, I have cords that are perfectly wrapped everywhere. But, to repair stuff, you're right. It's so easy. You know?
Okay, so this is a perfect excuse before you toss it in the trash or the recycler. See if it can be fixed.
Well, I guess that brings us to the last part of the show. If you're still listening,
Ooh,
we always appreciate. Yes, we do appreciate it. So,
ooh, I appreciate it. This is
there
my
we
favorite.
go.
This is why I stick around.
because this is the time now that
Not just because you lock the door. But
and if you've dozed off a little, we're going to wake you up when we actually when we play.
Ross's rant. Ross's rant. Ross's rant.
I take a flamethrower to this place.
Me. What's up, Doc?
What is up, Doc? Well,
and cue.
yeah, right. Well, I put some stuff down in my good old electronic device here. Now I can't find them, but I do know there were a couple of things that I wanted to bring up, and I think I might have tapped on one earlier. Currently, there's some stuff going around social media, not just Facebook, but there is now a slew. X, TikTok, Facebook. I can probably spend the next 20 minutes listing off about stories going on in Burbank. And one of them mentions My Burbank and the Burbank PD. We've done our research on this one. We're not doing any more stories on it. If people are curious, if they see that, you know what? It's an old subject. And move on. That's what we're doing. One of the other things that I saw today while coming here, and Craig, you can tone in on this. Banded tows. Tows without markings. Tows that are illegal. I talked to our Burbank's official
You're talking about tow trucks.
tow trucks, but these guys that own gas stations put a light bar on top and a tow bar in the back and go pick up cars. People have hooked to their insurance now. You get tow service. Well, I talked to Dave Gerard, the owner of Gerard and Peterson, and he was telling me around Burbank alone how many of these trucks are showing up. You're involved in an accident. A bandit tow will show up and say, "We're working for your insurance company, and I want to warn people."
That's a misdemeanor. It is an actual crime for a tow truck to stop at a collision unsolicited. If they're not flagged down, not called to be there, not dispatched there, it's a misdemeanor for them to just stop and render aid. Because what used to be is these bandit tows, the police or somebody would call for a tow truck legally or AAA or something like that. These bandit tows would be listening to the scanner, hear the call go out, and they'd go jump the call and basically make the money off of the
And once they're hooked up, it's like, I'm not unhooking.
And then the price would often go up to drop the car.
Well, here in Burbank, the official police garage is Gerard and Peterson over on Providencia. They've been in business for many years. They have a contract with the city of Burbank.
And by police garage, you mean if your car gets impounded, that's where it goes?
Well, or at an accident and you're incapacitated, you're taken to the hospital, they need to tow your car. They usually will put a note or tell you somewhere. But Gerard and Peterson has been in business for many, many years. They have gone through, I don't know how many tests through the city. They have at their impound yard, their trucks are all brand new. But if you're getting towed by a Burbank police tow, I can guarantee it's going to be Gerard and Peterson. These other bandit tows, be careful.
And it's not like that in every city. Some departments, especially larger cities, have tow companies on a rotation.
Right.
Highway Patrol has tow companies on a rotation. Whoever is next up on the list will get the call for the tow. So Burbank is unique where it has one contract.
Correct.
One tow company is contracted, and because they can handle the volume that Burbank needs, right? Other maybe busier cities, larger cities, the higher volume, especially the Highway Patrol.
Well, I know Gerard and Peterson, they have, when they started, they used to be at a gas station at Magnolia and Glen Oaks, Chevron station, him and his partner. They started buying tow trucks. They moved a couple of times. There were two tows in Burbank, Larry's Tow, and G&P. And then he got into doing freeway patrol.
Right.
And he's one of those rotate.
Metro Freeway Service Patrol.
Yep. He picked up a lot of business. Then he started doing heavy duty tow, which means those semis.
There's the money.
Those are the big, yep.
Yeah.
And he has all that equipment. He's also been president of the California Tow Operators.
Well, a great reputation. They've been around a long time, very reputable and highly respected company. But your issue is obviously with the bandit tows.
Yep. And at night you see a lot of bandit tows. Cars that are getting repoed. A lot of bandit, they hire those.
Also, what I ran into years ago along First Street years ago, I parked in some parking lot and came back later that evening, and my car was gone.
I recall
And
that. I remember that phone call.
I discovered that it had been towed by a local tow company, not G&P, and I made my way over there. I'm sure somebody drove me over there, but I went to the counter and quickly explained to them that the operation they were running was 100% illegal, and you could consider me a subject matter expert on it. And I explained to them why I was a subject matter expert, and they quickly brought out my car. I'm surprised they didn't polish and wax it before they brought it out to me. But I called them to the carpet because 99.999% of people whose cars they tow out of these lots don't know that it's an illegal operation.
There's supposed to be, you're right, there's signs, you got to have
Posting,
signs.
they have to have written authorization from the property responsible, phone numbers, they have to have a written authority from the property owner or management giving them authority to just go in there and tow a car if they see it.
Yeah.
But there's a whole set of laws and regulations in place for these to operate legally, but they take advantage because the majority of people out there aren't familiar with those laws and regulations, so they get away with it.
And I was told that the sister city, Glendale, not our sister city, but the city neighbor has apparently over a dozen of these illegal tow companies working in Glendale. And so if you're going over there, like Craig just explained, when you pull in, just don't take for granted, I can park here because I'm going to the store right here. Look, because they'll hold you to the carpet on it.
It's not as easy as it has to be properly posted, the signage. There's a lot more that goes on there for them to legally tow you from that lot without a property owner or management representative actually present to fill out the paperwork. But first step for everybody out there is look for signs.
Yep. And like I said, driving here tonight, I saw this tow truck that had more lights on top than any one of my cars ever had. But and then I drove next to it, and I didn't see any decals. I saw just a tow bar out the back and him snagging a car, and I'm going, I sure hope the owner of that car wonders where he's going.
And if you're wondering, I spent 16 years of my career dealing with tow trucks and tow companies almost on a full-time basis. So that's why I have a little more familiarity with this than maybe some others.
So, like I said, Gerard and Peterson over on Providencia, they are licensed through the Burbank Police Department. They have a very close relationship as a business, but also as a city tow. They are out there. I see them at accidents, nickety split.
There's also a case where if you think your car was towed from somewhere in Burbank, you can call Gerard and Peterson and say, "Do you have my car?" And they'll tell you if they have your car or not. And if they don't, well, then the adventure begins.
And the other nice thing about a local tow company, I got locked out of my car once. I went and put the key in, and the doors auto-locked on me, and I had to call, and Dave Gerard, the owner himself, came out, and he got into my car in 2 seconds flat. Another time I've called for gasoline. I mean, know that local number. If you need service,
they're service vehicles. Just like AAA, they do gas, they do batteries, and all that stuff. You just have to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Most of them now, I don't know if they take Venmo or anything.
Who knows? Bitcoin? They might take Bitcoin now.
So,
Mr. Sherwood,
Is that it?
I think we're there.
Okay.
we're there. Look at that. Oh, there was one last thing I got to say. I got some mail today. We're in political season, aren't we? I got one from this renters, LA Renters Association going to everybody. About they want everybody to write the Burbank City Council about the renters laws and so forth.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much for a ballot measure. This is just something that came through the city. This isn't part of the election season.
Well, but it didn't come from the city. It's an outside organization. My suggestion
The
is
landlord's paid for.
exactly, if you're getting mail like that, we are now into the heat of politics, not only national, but locally. You're going to get pieces of mail that know where it's from. If you have questions, most of those people campaigning will take your phone call. I know we are going to do some podcasts with some politicians.
What he's not saying is scams are up. It's scam season for political donations, stuff like that. So be careful.
I was going to wait till our August show to say it, but we will start doing political podcasts in August. So if you are a candidate and appear on the Burbank ballot and would like a podcast done, contact us at news@myburbank.com in August, and we will set up a podcast for you.
You can call now, and if you want to get on that calendar, because I guarantee there are a slew of people running for city council.
Might fill up.
Exactly, and the schedule for that. So, and I'm just seeing a ton of events every day, ramping up for elections. So,
Righto.
Okay, well, that's it for another week that will be.
All in favor of adjourning this meeting?
There we go.
well, as they say, yabba dabba doo. Oh, I forgot it. Forget it.
You got to go.
Well, there you go. Thanks. Yabba dabba doo. We got to go.
Okay, for Craig Durling and Ross Benson,
Tally ho!
this is Craig Sherwood saying we will talk to you again next week. Thanks again for listening.
MyBurbank.com would like to thank all of our sponsors and subscribers for their continued support. To keep up with everything My Burbank has to offer, please follow us on Instagram at My Burbank News and on YouTube at My Burbank. This has been a production of My Burbank Talks, presented by My Burbank.